say, not what someone says they said. Listen to what they say. Listen to how they say it. Listen to the context in which they say it so that you can begin to get an understanding of how they think. Barack Obama is truly a talented and gifted speaker. And since we know that thought precedes speech, that means that by extension he is an even more talented and gifted thinker. When Africans were enslaved in this country, we had to learn to talk in code around the white man and around Negroes, certain Negroes. Now that we are free, and many of us still work on plantations from 9 to 5, y'all know that you still have to talk in code around white folk and around Negroes. All right? So when you listen to Barack talk, I want you to be aware that he is talking in code. He has one message for the general American population, and there's another message embedded in that speech that is directed to us. Now, he can't come out and say, I'm going to do this for black folk, I'm going to do that for black. He can't come out and say that because he'll lose the white vote. But if you listen to what he says, how he says it, and the context in which he says it, you will hear what he's saying to us. So you have to cultivate the ability not just to listen, but to hear what is not being said, and to understand that there's another level of communication that is going on. So I want to look at a couple of his speeches. The speech on race that he gave in Philadelphia on March 18th in response to Jeremiah Wright's comments. He put the issue of race in a historical context, and he talked about America and slavery. I have not heard very many people do this. On the national television, he talked about the history, he put it in context, and then he talked about the ability for everybody to move beyond that. Not forget it. Understand the issue and understand what is necessary to move beyond that. He described his relationship with Jeremiah Wright, with Trinity Church, and he specifically identified 11 o'clock on Sunday as the most segregated hour in America. White folk go to a white church and pray to a white God. Black folk go to a black church and pray to a white God. It is what it is. Contrary to the thoughts and wishes of others, Obama has overcome the wrongs of Jeremiah Wright. He did not separate himself from Jeremiah Wright. Wright pushed him away, kicked him underneath the bus. In his speech, Obama addressed the issues of race head on, and then he moved on. He won the primary races. He won the Democratic presidential nomination, and he can potentially win in November with your help. If you look at his Father's Day speech, which was held at a church in Chicago, June 15, 2008, in his speech, Barack used scripture in order to frame his discussion about fathers. Specifically, he used Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus preached about a man building his house on a rock which has a firm foundation. And Barack used this message to illustrate that family also has to be built on a strong foundation. Family is the foundation of every community. And the man, the father, is to be the rock of that family, the rock of that community. And then he talked about the fact that too many black men were not holding up their end, were not doing their job. And some folk got mad at him because he was telling the truth. But he was saying what needs to be said. We all know it. We all lived it. Let me share with you a couple of statistics that he provided in order to substantiate his claim that black men needed to start stepping up. He said, quoting here, "We know that more than half of all black children live in single-parent households, a number which has doubled since the time that we were children. We know the statistics. The children who grow up without a father are 5 times more likely to live in poverty and commit crime. They are 9 times more likely to drop out of school and 20 times more likely to go to prison. These are facts. This is the truth, like it or not. They are more likely to have behavior problems or run away from home or become teenage parents themselves. And the foundation of our communities are weaker because of it. This is the truth. And we need to be courageous enough to face the truth. Our men are not being men. They're not acting like men. Part of the problem is many of them didn't have men in the household. And I have to be honest with these sisters, a woman cannot raise a man. A mother cannot raise a man. My mother could not raise me to be a man. I needed men in my life to help me understand certain things that my mother didn't understand or couldn't explain to me. So we need men, courageous men, strong men to work in our communities, to be models, to be examples for our children, for our daughters, for our nation and our community. Barack proceeded to give examples as to what men could do to improve the quality of their lives and their community lives. So he didn't just talk about the problem, he gave statistics to validate the problem, and then he gave solutions to the problem. That's what you're supposed to do if you want to help somebody. You don't just criticize them. You help them understand what the issues are, and you give them the means by which they may help themselves. So the conclusion was simple. Since it's a simple and truthful message which needs to be repeated over and over again until it sinks into our heads and we realize that the only way we can change our condition is to confront our condition. We can't run away from it. You can't deal with the truth by simply ignoring it or wishing it away, or committing character assassination upon the messenger of that truth. So in that context, I gotta say, shame on Tavis Smiley. I gotta say, shame on Cornel West for being overly critical of his speech. I have to say, shame on Michael Eric Dyson for getting on Bill Cosby for saying the same thing. Now come on, now we gotta be serious. You know, folk accuse Cosby, folk accuse Barack of airing our dirty laundry. But don't you realize the world can see your dirty drawers because our children are walking around with their hands hanging out off their behind. What people on this planet allow their children to walk out of the house like that? No one on any country that I've gone to allows their children to accept such dysfunctionality as the validity of their humanity. That is insane. That is unacceptable behavior. And as long as we are silent on this issue, the world will continue to look at us as if we have lost our minds. And so we can't do better until we start acting better. And I applaud any black man who holds black men up to a higher standard. We need to have regular discussions like this on an ongoing basis. At Barack's Democratic DNC presidential acceptance speech last month, he talked about a number of important things. I call this speech the Promise of America speech. You can do what you will. And in this speech, Barack talked about what was wrong with America. He identified George Bush as the source of many of America's ills. And then he linked McCain to George Bush. He went on to talk about the economy. And he talked about the promises that he would keep as president of the United States. And then he proceeded to detail those promises. And he said that he promised to help you if you would help your community. Huh? Yeah. I would help you, but you got to help yourself. I can't do it all for you. And then he broadened his Father's Day message to talk about all fathers in this country needed to step up and do more. And then he delivered his punchline with the skill of Muhammad Ali in his prime, right? When he said, I get it. I realize that I'm not the likeliest candidate for the office. I don't fit the typical pedigree, he said. But I stand here before you tonight because all across America, something is stirring. What the naysayers don't understand is that this election has never been about me. It's about you. It's about you. And understanding that this is an opportunity for every single one of us. He said that history teaches us that at the